At Belfast Adult Education, on any day of the week, the voices of literacy volunteers and their students can be heard as the act of tutoring occurs. This mingling of voices immersed in learning partnerships is happening throughout Waldo County in growing numbers, with adults ranging in age from 19 to over 70, building their reading, writing, math, computer, and English language skills.
In recognition of this 30th anniversary of Literacy Volunteers of Waldo County, we began looking back to see where we came from, how is it we got here, and what is it that's kept us going all these years.
We dug into the archives and learned that it was a VISTA volunteer who laid the groundwork in the mid-80s. We imagined there were many conversations over coffee where individuals exchanged their visions for how the joy of literacy could be shared. This group likely became the first of several board of directors, giving thousands of hours to the cause and building the foundation of who we are today. One of their first important steps was to make us an affiliate of Maine Literacy Volunteers. This affiliation proved fortuitous because of its staff member, Lorraine Brown, who is fiercely dedicated to both literacy and a form of theater that gives voice to those who often go unheard. She created a theater group called the Outcast Players, which connected tutors and adult learners within a very untraditional relationship as performers on stage.
Well, though I worked for the state, and I worked all over the state, I have always been based here in the Belfast, Waldo County area. And so we had one of the strongest affiliates in the state. And so I was able to go to the state office and always represent that. And I was able to go around the state talking about what we did here at the Literacy Volunteers of Waldo County. So I've been delighted, that we've grown, that we've stayed. And it was really out of this affiliate, as well as Rockland, that really innovative project of having a theater group for people who were students of Literacy Volunteers. It came out of this affiliate, really, and out of Rockland, and we went all over the state with that theater group. And there are students walking up and down the streets now that I see who came to us here and were not able to read and write, and now they can, and they were part of that effort. So those are great memories. And the other thing is that the people who are attracted to literacy volunteers are always very genuine, because it's not a quick fix, and so people who really appreciate reading usually have tremendous memories associated with what it was like when they first were able to read their first book. And so there was a lot of really true story sharing about what reading has meant to people in their lives. And then to see some grandparents who were coming here just because, and a lot in this area this would happen, they wanted to read to their grandkids. And now that happened around the state, but because this is where I live, I still see those people around. Mm-hmm. So that is those are good memories for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What we discovered is that we are here today because of the magic of relationships, not only between tutor and adult learner, but also among volunteers and community organizations.
We learned there are other important relationships that happened in our history because of the leaders who recognized the value of community partnerships. Program coordinator Frances Walker so believed in their value that she decided to move the Literacy Volunteers office with an ocean view from the top floor of the Red and White building to its basement floor, just so she could be next to the soup kitchen, where she could interact with more individuals who might want to improve their literacy skills. She knew that the physical proximity of two agencies can make a difference, fostering relationships that make it easier for an adult to connect with literacy services. An important ingredient in keeping literacy volunteers alive has been its supportive community base. Individuals and local agencies who believe in literacy and know how crucial it is to provide meaning and opportunities to individual lives. For many years, funding needs were a constant challenge for us. When funding cuts threatened our very survival, Ruth Southworth, director of Broadreach Agency, gave us a home there for 5 years. We then became a program of Belfast Adult Education, thanks to its director, Dr. Daryl Gilman, and we are now flourishing.
Obviously, there was always been a literacy volunteers relationship, but it was not a defined relationship. Sometimes we would have students come in and say they had been working with literacy volunteers, but it didn't seem to be working out, or vice versa. They may come in and say they wanted to work with adult ed, but that hadn't worked out, so they had gone to literacy volunteers. So I don't think there was a lot of there wasn't a real strong relationship between adult ed and literacy volunteers until, what year was it? 3 years ago?
Yeah, about 3 years ago.
So, until about 3 years ago, when our director, Mr. Gilman, was approached and asked if he would take on literacy volunteers and let it become part of our program, which was an excellent decision, because since then there is a relationship between literacy volunteers and adult ed that never, I don't believe, ever existed in the past in Waldo County.
Among the challenges of reaching adult learners to share literacy, this is perhaps the most important story, that of the power of relationships. When individuals step out of their busy lives to embark on a learning journey together, students develop literacy skills that improve their ability to function and to reach goals, while volunteers have the opportunity to learn about the students' interests, their skills, their accomplishments, and their many strengths.
Adult learners come to us with diverse backgrounds and needs. Two of our longest serving volunteers began as tutors of an extended Mexican family. Their story illustrates how, through shared experiences, great relationships are born that lay the foundation from which literacy grows.
I think soon after we stepped up, the people from Mexico arrived.
Right.
There were about 10 or 12 people who found, you've heard of coyote crossing people over the border, they're also job coyotes. He got them cards and jobs and brought them here. And an apartment in Belfast that was a very nice apartment. It was probably 15 people living in it, I think. And when we met these about 10 people, one was a woman. She was 18. She had walked, or at least come by foot, across the desert to the border of the United States. And after we knew them for about 6 months, roughly, we learned that she was going to have her first baby. And so eventually I ended up at the hospital at the baby's birth.
Literacy volunteers give their time and talents not only to tutoring, but also to promoting literacy in other ways, like creating the Waldo Reads website and Facebook page. One volunteer effort we are especially excited about is the installation of little libraries around Waldo County. We are thrilled to have Waldo County Tech Center students be a part of this literacy outreach project by helping us build these libraries. We started with one in the fall of 2015 and now have 4 in place and 3 more going up soon. These are being visited by dozens of community members every month. We hope their whimsical look will reinforce the message that reading is a pleasure and that we are here to help make that pleasure accessible to all.
Both the student and the tutor are learning together.
Things. Phil has a lot of interest in military history, and I flunked history in school.
She won't after we're done.
So he's taught me a lot about, because he has a strong interest in military history, and when we find things that he's interested in, it makes it really nice for both of us, because I learn things and he learns things and gets to read what he enjoys. And one of the things that I've learned, and one of the reasons that I won't let you down, because I'm in this for the long haul, is because of your enthusiasm. So your enthusiasm for what we're doing keeps me coming back and enjoying it and getting something out of it too. So you're not the only one who gets something out of it. Yeah, I really appreciate your enthusiasm.
But also, I've learned a lot. For instance, you will notice that Sean has a tattoo. And I have learned a lot about tattoos. I did not know that that was a sleeve. There is some literacy that I needed to know. And other things. So we've had a lot to share and some good jokes, and it's really been great.
Opening doors, building futures, which is our slogan, happens because of the one-on-one connection that builds trust between learning partners. Caring conversations integrated with good teaching nurture curiosity and a desire to learn so that adult learners can enjoy the many life-changing benefits of literacy.
I don't know. I feel like I've also, we've exchanged this whole thing between our own personal lives as well, like talking about our animals and such, but also, bringing up tattoos as well. But the educational factor has been even more empowering in the fact of like dealing with the whole just learning aspect. You've been a great teacher, you've been very wonderful, and every little tiny aspect of like being, like I know that I'm great at like getting angry sometimes, and you work great through that, and you just like push through it. It's like, no, there's nothing to be upset about, like let's keep going forward. And you've taught me about like commas, reading. My reading level has just by far gone way farther than any other way than I've ever seen it before, between you and our other friend Carolyn as well, and my other teacher. And it's just been such a great like aspect to be able to do this and like be a part of it. And I'm like super glad that we've had that connection as a teacher and student, and just like working together as like a group. I've really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It
It's
has.
really
It has been
been-
fun.
What's that word? What's that word? And N word. And you brought up the word nurture.
Oh, yeah,
And it was kind of, as a, working with you as a teacher, it made me really happy that you were using that word to think about, like taking care of the kids and how hard it is, that nurturing.
I've reached a lot of goals that I have. I know one thing for sure is that I'm definitely not through. I still need help.
One guy said about something about a member of the family. He said, well, I was a member of the family. He's very close.
Looking forward, our vision for the future is to continue fostering the magic of relationships, which will help to bring the joy of literacy into every household in Waldo County. We know we can do this with the dedication of tutors and the support of funders and community organizations. We thank you for gathering here with us this evening to celebrate and honor these special relationships that we have all been so fortunate to be a part of. We look forward to the next 30 years and all the wonders and amazement that sharing literacy will bring to us.